Following breaking news out of South Korea, where an unannounced address this morning, South Korea's president declared martial law, accusing opposition parties of sympathizing with North Korea.
The chaos inside South Korea, of course, a key U.S. ally after that stunning announcement. South Korea's democratically elected president declaring martial law. The White House, of course, watching this very closely today with nearly 30,000 U.S. troops stationed there. President Yoon with a late-night announcement on TV banning all political activities, taking control of the media. Then lawmakers rushing to Parliament, barricading themselves inside, soldiers storming the building, clashing with protesters there. Late tonight, President Yoon officially backing down now, and now the growing calls for him to resign. Martha Raddatz here with late developments tonight.
In a shocking move, South Korea's president declared martial law, claiming rival lawmakers are subverting parliament and sympathizing with communist North Korea. The late-night move triggered chaos on the streets as hordes of angry citizens clashed with riot police. Under martial law, parliament and other political gatherings were suspended under penalty of arrest without a warrant. Despite that, the National Assembly met and voted unanimously to lift the order. South Korea's military announced martial law would remain in place until it is lifted by the president himself. President Yoon has said he would lift the order as soon as he could convene his cabinet.
Why has South Korea's president declared martial law? I'm at London Heathrow here, about to get on my plane for Seoul to report on what's happening. Embattled President Yoon Suk-yeol declared this martial law, putting the military in charge, suspending all existing laws, and even censoring the media, and saying that he wanted to protect the country from the threat of what he says were North Korean communist forces, but he didn't warn of any specific threats like an attack. He also blamed, though, domestic politics, the opposition party, the Democratic Party, for trying to pass nearly 24 impeachment motions against his government. He also said that they wanted to make massive cuts to his proposed national budget, which then froze government. And after he declared martial law, South Korean troops could be seen trying to enter the legislature, which is known as the National Assembly. But just after
thousands of protesters poured into the streets, descending on the South Korean National Assembly after the nation's president declared martial law. Soldiers entered the building shortly after President Yoon Suk-yeol ordered military rule in order to defend the Free Republic of Korea from the threat of North Korean communist forces. He accused his opposition of sympathizing with communist North Korea. Less than 3 hours later, the South Korean parliament defied the president, voting unanimously to overturn that decree. Then President Yoon backed down. Yoon is under attack himself. His approval ratings have plummeted in recent months, and he and his wife are accused of corruption and accepting bribes. Martial law bans protests and demonstrations, prohibits any political activities, and takes control of all media. South Korea.
It's almost 2 a.m. in Seoul, and people are not going home. They want the National Assembly door open. They want the martial law lifted. And they want to know what's going to happen, because the overwhelming mood here is one of incredulity. I see some people also giggling because they cannot seem to believe that a martial law is declared in this democracy. It's almost 2 a.m.
Breaking news, we have just learned the man who was living in Ontario has been arrested, accused of trying to ship weapons to North Korea. Federal authorities say Shinghua Wen successfully shipped firearms and ammunition to North Korea by concealing those items inside shipping containers from Long Beach. Authorities say they later found 50,000 rounds of ammo at Wen's house in Ontario. They said Wen was living here in the United States illegally after he came here on a student visa in 2012 and never left.
Federal agents at the Ontario home of a 41-year-old Chinese national they say has been running an international arms sales scheme funded by the North Korean government.
Shinghua Wen, he was arrested this morning. We allege that he conspired with government officials in North Korea to obtain military supplies, including firearms and ammunition, to obtain technology, and then conceal that technology and those materials in shipping containers that departed from the port of Long Beach.
Among the items seized at the house, a chemical threat identification device, a receiver to detect eavesdropping equipment, and 50,000 rounds of 9mm ammunition in a van parked outside the home, where unsuspecting neighbors thought nothing of the people living here, including Wen.
They was really quiet for here.
I don't know what to think. Pretty surprising.
Surprising describes the scheme to move the material through the port of Long Beach to Hong Kong and ultimately North Korea.
Rebels took Syria's military by surprise, a lightning assault seizing control of most of Aleppo, the country's second largest city. They overran the presidential palace and left piles of dead government soldiers in the street. "We are coming, Damascus," the rebels chanted, a threat to move on Syria's capital next. Many of the rebels belong to Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, an Islamist group designated a terrorist organization by the US.
Russian police have reportedly been raiding bars and nightclubs to crack down on what they call LGBTQ+ propaganda. Footage shows young people being ordered to lie on the floor by security forces in a Moscow nightclub, and reports are claiming that they seized phones, laptops and cameras and inspected people's documents. This is all happening exactly a year after Russia's Supreme Court ruled that the LGBTQ+ movement should be banned as an extremist organization. Monobar didn't directly reference the incident, but wrote on Telegram, "Friends, we're so sorry that what happened. They didn't find anything forbidden. We live in such times, but life must go on."
Pentagon today announcing a new $725 million military aid package for Ukraine to include more ammunitions and air defense capabilities. This, as the Ukrainian Air Force says, it recorded 110 Russian attack drones launched into the country overnight into early this morning. As winter approaches, these Russian drone barrages are becoming more frequent as Moscow continues to target Ukraine's energy grid, as it has since the full-scale invasion of the country, looking to leave civilians without power and heat throughout the winter.
Thank you.
Donald Trump is planning to cut down on the amount of people who receive food stamps. He risks making an already vulnerable society even poorer. But ironically, here they voted 80% in favor of him, and their support for him continues. To earn a little extra money, Serenia does some household tasks for her neighbors. For a few dollars, she also cuts James's hair, who works in the mine. He is a loyal follower of Donald Trump.
$2,000 a month, and my rent is $1,660.
Sadly, this is getting to be the story of pretty much everybody out there. I haven't rented since I was in my 20s, so I've been out of the housing market forever on this shit. But I tried to help my niece get a place about 6-8 months ago, something like that. And she was telling me everything she found was $1,900, $2,300, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, sweetheart, you just let me look for you. There's something out there, $500-600 a month that's decent. I'll find it. There's not. Like, how? I mean, why? Why did we get to this point? Why is just a decent place to sleep and cook and survive exist? Why is it $3,000, $4,000 a fucking month? I mean, it's ridiculous. Something's got to change. Otherwise, we're going to end up with half the country homeless.
Man, y'all ever just sat back and just thought about how weird life is right now? Like, we really, like 10 plus years ago, we really created an app that gave people a social score, gave people this certification badge, and we really use that to judge people in real life. Like 90% of the world really use social media to judge people in real life. Like we can be like, man, if they ain't got 100K followers, I'm not networking with them. If they ain't got 90K, I'm not networking with them. If they ain't did this certain thing, I'm not networking with them. Like, this world is crazy, man, because I done ran to people who got about 200-300 followers on social media and be rich as hell. And then I run to these little influencers and stuff, and I be like, damn, why are you sleeping on that couch? Why you ain't got no money or no job or nothing?
I don't think billionaires should exist. No one needs that much money. I think it's inhumane. Pick any city, walk around, you see people starving, people without basic necessities. There's no excuse for that. And it's not because people are lazy or don't want to work. The billionaires that keep amassing more and more wealth so they can build rocket ships and do whatever the hell they want to do, that does nothing for humanity.
Your critics say that's class warfare.
Yeah, class warfare has been going on in this country for the last 40 years. The billionaire class has been taking everything and leaving the working class with nothing.
So you welcome it. You want the war.
It's always, whenever working class people ever step up and say, this is wrong, we want it to stop, all of a sudden, oh, it's class warfare, it's the end of the world.
Just on the other side of the border, some Israelis are already plotting to move into the land that's being evacuated. The war in Gaza has now become a twisted kind of tourist attraction for these families of Israel's right-wing settlers. They pose for pictures. Family smiles with Gaza smouldering in the background.
If you could give a message to people in Gaza now, what would you say to them?
To the Arabs, she says, go away. The people holding this map are from the Nahala settler movement, a minority group, but vocal, and with friends in Netanyahu's coalition government. This man's wearing a t-shirt that says Gaza delende est, Gaza must be destroyed. This
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I'm in the final weeks of my presidency. You don't have to clap for that. You can if you want. But I wanted to come to Angola. Although I've been chairman of the African American Subcommittee for a long time, I had never made it to Angola. Because although I don't know exactly what the future will hold, I know the future runs through Angola.